You are listening to the Strange Oddities Podcast on the KGRA Radio Network. Please visit their website, kgraradio.com. You are listening to the Strange Oddities Podcast, which rebroadcast on the KGRA Radio at 2 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Time.
And please welcome your host of Strange Oddities Podcast, Matthew J. Haas.
What's up, Strange Oddities Podcast viewers and listeners? Matthew J. Haas here. I'm your host, and of course, we have another exciting guest tonight on the Strange Oddities Podcast. Before I go and give this gentleman a nice, big, warm welcome to the podcast, as always, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the show, we have a YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel and please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm always looking for more subscribers if you don't mind doing that. We are multicasting both on Facebook and YouTube. We are now available on Podbean. We are available on iTunes, Spotify, KGRA Radio Network. We're on multiple platforms, so I'm excited to announce that, guys. Go to our website, strangeodditiespodcast.wordpress.com. I'm testing a new mic tonight, guys. I'd really like your feedback on how it sounds. If it sounds terrible, I can't hear myself live, please go ahead and give me a quick message. Let me know how it goes. Guys, if you're ready to go tonight, I hope you are. We're going to go down a dark story tonight with Mr. David Oman. We have the infamous Manson murder history. We have the infamous notorious David Oman House out in California. It's notoriously haunted with different ghosts. David also has his own podcast. He has his own show. He does lots of events. I'm real excited to introduce this gentleman because I'm already having fun before the show even started. We're having laughs. We're having a good time. We're going to have lots of fun tonight. Dave, welcome to the Strange Oddities Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it. And happy Halloween month as well.
Yes, I love October. It's the best sleeping weather in the world.
Oh, it's the finest.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. So I may look a little different because I'm used to wearing a headset. So now you can see more of my shiny bald head. But it's still me. It's Matthew J. Haas. I'm excited to have Dave here on the show. I want to thank Mr. Ron Iacovetti for connecting us because he really connected us together tonight. So a big shout out to him real quick. My wife is moderating the chat in the chat. Guys, if you have any issues or questions, I'll try to relay them as best I can throughout the show. All right, so we have a lot to talk about, man. I mean, this is, Sharon Tate, a lot of people, very sad and unfortunate incidents that, Charles Manson was a brutal murderer, serial killer. He led a cult, 100 followers. Sharon Tate was one of the biggest names in the murder. You live in the house that, was big in the area where the murders took place. What started your journey? What made David Oman say, all right, I want to do this? And how did it all begin for you?
Well, honestly, nothing of the way that you just presented it is really the way it was. It's not like I was, how should you say, outwardly looking to become, gain notoriety from living in a haunted house down the street from Sharon Tate's. I guess it all started probably about God, 41 years ago, about 1978, 1979, when I was in high school, we used to trek up here to see the Tate House because we'd all read Helter Skelter in 1977, 78, and we were all like, we got to see this place. So my friends used to come up here, and I was like fascinated, saying, really, we can go up to where? Yeah, yeah. And I hate to say that we were death hags, because we weren't really death hags, even though it's kind of, when I look back, it's like, yeah, we were. We were always fascinated by where people had died,
Right.
Like, for instance, we all knew where Jan Berry had a terrible accident on Dead Man's Curve, and we all drove, we all just drive on Sunset. He goes, we're driving over the spot where Jan had it, and we'd point out, saying, that's the spot where Jan Berry had eaten, and this is Dead Man's Curve, and you gotta be careful. And,
right.
we were always, looking out for houses that were vacant houses that had some notoriety to them as kids, and so when we went up to the gate, it was still there in 1978. It was only 9 years after the murders, and that place was literally, you drove up this driveway, and it was an old rustic kind of a driveway. On the right-hand side, it was dirt, and it came down to the street. And it was kind of narrow and funky and overgrown on the other side, and there were these two little rickety houses that were there. And then you got to the chain link fence, and then there was on the right-hand side, and on the left, about 10 feet, was a wood plank fence, and somebody had gone and painted Helter Skelter in red paint. And we all thought, we all kept on promoting the myth that was written in their blood, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's like, later on, come to find out, that it's like, no, somebody wrote that in paint. The murderers never did that in the front of the house.
Right. It's a great rock and roll song, too, Helter Skelter.
Oh, yeah, well, the song came long before the murders, but
yeah.
Needless to say, we would be looking through the chain link fence because that's all there was. And you could see about 20 feet in front of you was a rock type of a gate, not a rock gate, but a rock like a wall. And then it went into the driveway, and that's as far as you could see. You couldn't see the house because the house was set way back around this side. And it was deep set back, so we didn't see any of the house. But we would always go up there, and I would like one of the first things I would do is just walk right up to the gate. The first thing I ever did was I bowed my head and I said, even though we're about to get high and smoke and drink, I said, beers, I said, I really don't like the idea of not honoring those that died here. It's just that simple. To me, it was like hallowed ground. And I said, we can't just sit there and not honor them. We have to show some dignity and respect for those that have passed away here some years earlier. And then I'd say fast forward about 20 years, 1998, my dad calls me up late November on a Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, and says, David, I found it. And I said, Dad, found what? I said, Dad, it's 8 in the morning, it's Sunday. What? He goes, I found a lot. And it's like, oh, good for you. He goes, I want you to get up and meet me up there. It's like, up the way. He goes, it's in Beverly Hills. And it's like, are you kidding me? A lot in Beverly Hills. He goes, yeah. He goes, you can afford it. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's $40,000. I said, is it in the Sunday classified LA Times? And he goes, yeah. And I said, and this is before the internet, mind you. This is 21 years ago, so there's no like Craigslist, etc. And I'm sitting there, said, Dad, it's got to be, does it say 40K? And he goes, yes. I said, Dad, it's a misprint. It's a typo. It's got probably 400K.
Right.
And he goes, no, it's a foreclosure. And I'm like, I'm not going to get him off this phone call. I'm going to have to. I said, fine. I'll meet you. I'll go. So he gives me the address, and it doesn't dawn upon me when he says the name Cielo Drive. It doesn't make a click. You've heard this name before. You know this street. You've read about it. It's historically significant. With you? None of that goes off. I'm like, duh. So I get out my Thomas Guide, which for those children that are out there, or viewers that are not familiar with, I actually am old school, and hold on, I like doing this.
Oh, okay.
The minds of our audience. Hold on one second.
Yeah, no problem.
Where is that? No, is that it?
Guys, if you're joining us late, we're with David Oman. He's the owner of the Oman House out in California, notoriously haunted. Not necessarily all because of the Manson murders, but there's other ghosts there. But yeah, he's looking for something. So, guys, if you have questions in the chat, shoot them away. Hope the new mic sounds good to you guys. It sounds good to me on my end.
All right, scratch that. All right, scratch that. I don't have one. I must have thrown it out in my dithers. It's a map book. So you basically look up a street, name in the index. You then give a page number and a quadrant, and you'd look it up, and that would give you the information, which bugs the crap out of me that I don't have one just to show you guys, for God's sakes. In any event, I go up there with my 2 dogs, and I get to the location before my father, and I look down the street and I go, holy crap. Now, mind you, the house that was there is now just, there's a chain link fence, and it's bulldozed. It's just like the beginning of the property where the chain link fence is, it's broken earth all the way in. And I'm like, that's where the Tate house stood. Oh my God. And I'm shaking my head going, I can't believe it. I'm finally up here again. It's been that many years, some 30 years later, 20 years later since high school. And I'm here again. And I'm like, wow, this is a trip. My dad drives up in his 1998 Firebird. And I'm like, Dad, that's where the Tate murders, took place. My dad's 82 years old at the time. Still pissing fire and vinegar.
Nice.
And he goes, I don't give a damn about some murders that took place in 1969. We're here to look at a lot. Focus. So I look to my left, and I'm looking down the slope, and I said, this is it? He goes, yeah, this is it. I said, and I look next to him, there's a house there, and it's an older style house. And I'm thinking, that was here when I was here. So that must have been one of the 2 houses that was here during the murders. And then I see there's another house next to that that's newer. And then I see an old house next to that, and that's it. And then I see this construction. I'm going, wow, that's crazy. And I looked and I said, Dad, it looks like there's rebar on the side. He goes, yeah, apparently they started constructing the house, and the city foreclosed on them. I mean, the city stopped them, and then they got foreclosed upon. And I'm like, wow. And I said, that's amazing. So he goes, this for $40,000. He goes, this is a steal. We could build this place. Because my dad was a builder, designer, architect. And he had, always loved to build on hillsides. He goes, the more challenging a property, the more fun it is for me to design a house that conforms to that property. I was like, okay. He goes, we could build one hell of a house here, and we'll build it ourselves. And I'm like, damn, let's do it.
Yeah, why not?
So he says to me, I'm gonna design the house and create this house here. And we basically started to build, bought the lot 2 months later in January of '99, and spent the next 3 3/4 years, almost 4 years, building this.
Wow.
And we actually, literally, when I say building this, it's not like, oh, Jose, I want you to do this. Like, no, I was on the site putting stuff in, doing stuff, installing electrical, installing stuff left, right, and center. Oh, yeah, people are going, yeah, that figures. That's why he has problems with the electrical in the house. Wow. I don't have problems with the electrical in the house. The ghosts create their own do their own electrical stuff in the house that has nothing to do with, the lights going off by themselves and the televisions turning on by themselves. That's not anything that I designed into the house. I want people to know.
Right.
And as Dr. Barry Taff had said, some 3 years after I moved in, 3 years? Yeah, I moved in 2002. 1999 to 2002, right. August 30th, right. Thank you, Spirits. When we, after 3 years later, he goes, to design a house like this is one thing. To actually implement and create the dynamics that are present here, he said, would cost, he says, it's possible, it can be done. He goes, but you'd have to put in a number of steel plates that are about 1/2 inch thick by about 4 foot by 8 foot sheet steel in the walls, and connect them to a DC generator. And each one of the sides of the house would have to have about 4 of them on each floor embedded in these walls. Well, this is a mirror, but in the walls next to each other, all in line, and one side would be positive and one side would be negative. Right. Then you could create that kind of a dynamic that exists in this house.
Yeah. Yeah, but your
Because
house.
otherwise, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was gonna say your house is like so alive, like with like just like everything, like the architecture, what you put into it. It's like it's almost got its own life.
Right. Well, the irony to that is that unbeknownst to my father, the structural engineer who he hired to design the house as far as to reinforce the structure and make it sound for earthquakes and to make it more rigid and stable in such circumstances, said that, look, I want you to put in 2 steel I-beams, like what you have, what you call girders. When you see what is it, a skyscraper? You know those steel I-beams? The reason why they're called an I-beam,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
is
Yeah.
because they look like a capital I, like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And there are 2 that are underneath supporting the 3rd floor, and there are 2 supporting the 2nd floor, which I'm on, and right now. And they run across the structure. They're welded in together. They're 38 feet long combined, so they're 19 feet each, welded in the center, supported on each side and in the middle with a 4-inch diameter steel column.
Jeez.
That is base, or a pipe, you could say. A 4-inch diameter, about a 1/4-inch thick steel column or pipe that is then embedded into the concrete, reinforced concrete gray beam, which is another word for the foundation.
So in other words, it's like FU earthquake.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, here's the thing. When we've had the earthquakes, and I mean, people in the flats, oh my God, the house. I said, did you feel us going,
Right.
And I kid you not, it's amazing that the way that son of a bitch structural engineer went about reinforcing the wooden structure, made this house so much more resistant to earthquakes. It's not funny. It's like you see the house is swinging. It's like, do you feel anything? I said the only time I felt this house shake was once.
Yeah.
When the shuttle came through and broke the sound barrier.
Okay.
And with that sonic boom, the freaking house shook. And I was like, what the fuck? We have an earthquake? Because no, it was a sonic boom. It's like, when we had the last earthquake that people felt, the one a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I have it on my video cameras. I've got these figurines on top of my 180-gallon aquarium that, 2 of the figurines got knocked over. And not even the lighter ones, but the heavier ones. And that was it. And I said, that's the whole extent of the earthquake? I said, wow, that was pretty mild. But down in the flat, oh yeah, they could feel it. It's amazing. The house is really it's solid when it comes to earthquakes.
Yeah.
But again, back to the steel reinforced, this is basically this Ferris cage. And if you can imagine, each one of my hands or arms is like steel running across on different levels, and these 3 posts holding up the 2nd floor and then the 3rd floor, that there's an interconnectivity with the steel reinforced concrete and the caissons, which are 25 feet deep, 2-foot diameter reinforced concrete piles, which tie in all together to the reinforced gray beams and the foundation of the house connected to the steel.
Nice.
It's all energized or magnetized through the earth, naturally occurring.
Yeah.
So when you come in, and when Dr. Taff, as I mentioned, the parapsychologist,
Yep, I know Barry. Yeah, we're good friends.
Right, when Barry was here in 2005, for the year he was here, bringing out his digital geomagnetometer, he was registering on the DC EMF levels 2,000 milligauss positive all the way down to 2,000 milligauss negative. And the irony is that he says our equipment only reaches 2,000 milligauss positive or negative. He goes, for all intent and purposes, these numbers could be well above 2,000, up to 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 milligauss. We don't know.
Right.
Our equipment is limited in the range it will read with.
Sure. Did you do any readings around the property as well, or?
Not as elevated as inside, but still on the spikier side.
Right.
But it was constant. So what Barry said is it's kind of like the perfect storm for spirits. I said, what do you mean? He says,
the birdcage effect,
He says what happens is that when we were investigating the original case of the entity case in Culver City, that the meters would spike to 2,000 milligauss and then stay there for a little while and then return to normal.
Right.
He goes, in your house, they're always spiked.
That's funny. Yeah, I can imagine that.
And I said to him, I said, that's interesting. I said, he goes, so what does that mean? He goes, well, it's like it's a perfect place for spirits to manifest and to drive their energy. And I came up with my own theory saying it's like a reptile. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, a reptile, take it from a cold environment, it's sluggish. Like in the winter, it hibernates.
Right.
But if you take it into a warm environment, it naturally becomes active because it's deriving its energy off the environmental or ambient energy in the air,
right?
In that area. So it's like taking a spirit, or it's like taking a sea monkey and taking it from a dried up, nothing, and dropping it, which is a brine shrimp, putting it into salt water. It'll open up and rehydrate and turn into a live being or a creature.
That's crazy.
And so the same thing happens with the house. It's not just the 5 people that died down there.
Sure.
But you've got a level of spirits that are on the other side that see this eye figure as like a beacon in the darkness, and they come here to migrate. And because I'm allowing this to happen, it's like a giant ghost flop house. Then you have the spirits of the people that walk into the house,
right,
and hit the environment, and the cadre of spirits, I believe, around each and every one of them can jump off and manifest in this home and the environment and do stuff that's totally available to them here, but only here. And I don't believe in hitchhiking ghosts that go, I'm going to get onto their back and hang out with them. What? Really? Your ego is so gosh darn. You see, human beings love to play ego games and they don't even realize it. And that's a part of the paranormal field that I go, really, ghosts are sitting there. They're scaring you. They're trying to scare you. They have nothing better to do than scare you. It's the perception of the onlooker to what's taking place that makes them believe that they're special. Yes, there's a ghost trying to harm me. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Let me get you straight. You got a ghost that wants to hurt you that you have no idea who it is, but there are people out there who have been dead in the grave for 40 some odd years, like Sharon Tate, and I'm specifically referring to the victims of the murders.
Right. And they want to scare you.
They know who the murderers are. They're sitting and rotting in jail for 23 hours a day in a jail cell, 8 foot by 10 foot by 7 foot. And you're telling me that they haven't gone out of their frickin' minds being haunted by the victims that they put into the gosh darn ground some 45, 50 years ago, 51 years ago now. And you're telling me that, oh no, you're the one that somebody else's spirits are coming to haunt and torment because you didn't do anything and that's why. Oh, okay. Okay. Let me hear some more logic to your thinking about your paranormal enthusiasm, because people don't use and apply any type of rational application to their theories at all. They say them in a vacuum as if they live in a vacuum. It's like, but you don't live in a vacuum. And because you don't, there's something called cause and effect, and there's called cause and effect down the chain of command and down the line of what's going to happen and what could happen and what should play out in your theory. So if you have your theory, be prepared to have a challenge on this level, this level, this level, this level, and let's explore those points. Because if you can't defend it on multiple planes of existence, kind of like Star Trek 3-dimensional chess. If you can't apply it across all planes of existence, your theory is hogwash and basically a pipe dream that you've created that you like to lay claim to, but in essence, it's just that. It's just nonsense.
I always just say it's an idea. Just leave it as an idea. You can't prove it with the things that you want to prove it with. We can't prove things scientifically. We can apply the scientific method, with control variables in certain environments. But, we can only really, for now, discuss the ideas and discuss the theory and, which is a great discussion, but we can just leave it at that for now. Right. I don't think we're going to, maybe scientifically today prove, the existence of ghosts right now with, science until we have a better understanding of what we're doing. But one of my questions I want to bring up to you, Dave, is what was your first experience or thing you did in the Oman House that made you say, all right, we have something here, and I think there are things going on here that are what makes the Oman House it is?
All right. One thing was my dog who passed on named Sebastian. Rhodesian Ridgeback. They are non-barkers, meaning they don't like to bark at things that they can't deal with.
Okay.
They're usually quiet dogs. They would bark in case of a threat to the home. He used to bark incessantly at the front door, and I mean like bellow, like, "Boo!" And it was like there's somebody at the front door, and most times there would be somebody there. There
Right.
were quite a few times where he would bellow and bark, and there would be no one there. We also heard knocks at the front door, and there would be no one there when we opened the door. And it's not like I'm in a neighborhood where we have ding-dong ditch occurring. I'd have to say there were just elements of and occurrences of things that were happening here that you see out of the corner of your eye, an object, and you go, all right, what the? And my friend said, no, I just saw that too. And it's like, you saw that because I saw that shadow figure move. It's like, and voices, footsteps. Let's see, voices and footsteps in parts of the house, televisions turning on by themselves, lights being turned on in parts of the house I hadn't been in, the faucets turning on by themselves. Once I actually saw, my friend went to the bathroom on the top floor, and he was sitting there and he ran out of the bathroom. I said, what's the matter? He goes, because the sink just turned on by itself. I mean, the faucet's in the sink turned on by itself. I was like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, the faucet's in the sink. I said, nah, it's not possible. He goes, yeah, I. And I was like, no, goddamn way. He goes, yeah, it happened.
They were
Because
thirsty.
and then it happened for another friend of mine. His wife flipped out and she never came back to the house. Some 7 years later, she still hasn't. I had it happen in front to me. And I said, that's cool. I said, finally, you did it for me. I said, you finally got around to it. How many years did it take?
Yeah.
I said, now listen here. I said, as much as I appreciate and really love the fact you did that for me. California's, on the serious side, I said, California's going through a hellacious drought. So I'd like you to lay off the water gags and don't do it anymore, please. I said, find something more interesting and entertaining to do for this, to scare, to let me know you're here, but no more water gags.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how I treat it. It's not to say that the theories aren't great, but when people start making money on their theories,
Right.
selling this as God's, God, the word of God, so to speak, I take issue with it. I take a real serious issue with it because to me it's almost it's a form of fraud, and they know it.
Right.
And because they know it, and because they have their fans and their followers, and I'm speaking about one, in particular, we don't have to say his name, who has a museum, if you want to call it that, some call it that, I call it a farce. Because I don't believe museums should have people jumping out of the woodwork scaring you or trying to scare you while you're looking at objects that are supposed to be of some sort historical or some significance.
Right.
Actual significance, not just items that people claim that were possessed and haunted and then sent into you and you put them in a gosh darn room because you have your museum, if you want to call it that. I call it more like a goodwill for paranormal objects. They could even be construed as truly paranormal because he takes anything and everything that he gets and puts it into one of 6 different categories. And if it falls into the clown category, it'll go into the John Wayne Casey room with all the other haunted clown ephemera.
Right. Oh boy.
And then we have a guy that's in the corner jumping out and scaring people dressed up as a clown. Who my friend happened to go to that tour, and he's an ex-vet and a military special ops sniper, and he punched the guy out. And I said, whatever. He goes, got thrown out right after this. Security descended upon me, and I said, look, I'm a vet. I said, I served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I'm sorry, but this guy touched me, jumped out, touched me on the chest. I didn't expect it, and I loaded and I punched him right in the face. Knocked his ass straight out. I said, what did you want? He assaulted me.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything about it.
Wow.
So
yeah.
my thoughts were that's some great museum. It's a fun house, so it's really not a museum, but he, whatever.
Yeah,
let's not digress.
There's a lot of that out there. Let's just put it that way.
I don't buy into that. I'm the Larry David of the paranormal field. I will not put anything on a video of mine on my channel from my house that is not real and been gone through and verified countless times and ways, because in my house I have now 24. I think I have 24 cameras.
That's crazy.
CCTV cameras. They're like, I can actually grab one and show you. And
Anybody want to review? Anybody want to review 24 cameras of Dave's cameras?
These little gems.
It's a lot of reviewing.
Whoops, son of a bitch. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
That wasn't a ghost.
That was my dumb ass. Believe me, no ghost to that shit. Sit tight, baby. Sit tight.
Yeah.
Sit up.
No, well, that's great. It's great that you have people verify the things that you catch, and you throw that out there. And I think that's really commendable that you do that.
Well, I don't like BS. So here's the example. It's a 4 megapixel or 3. Yeah, it's a 4 megapixel. Here's the camera. Here's the lens. Where's the mic? This is the microphone. Super sensitive. So I've got these deployed throughout the entire house. No, not in the bathrooms for your audience that's on the chat line. But the videos, like I said, are incredible. They're high def. They're 1080p. They have great audio. They work with the infrared really well. And let me tell you, the stuff we've captured here is nuts.
Yeah. Well, the one incident Ron Iacovetti had mentioned to me through private conversation, we can mention it here on the show, when he was there visiting your house, there was a picture, which you may remember this story. I think you were there or he was there. You were there together. You experienced some kind of picture falling off the wall.
Yes.
And there was no explanation for how that
can come out on the phone. No problem. Bye. Yeah, as a matter of fact, what Ron was talking about was I had one of my posters of my movie, and unabashed marketing it will be, but it was a movie poster of this house at the end of the drive. It probably weighs about 15 pounds. It's glass. It's 24 by 36. So it's 2 foot by 3 foot. It's in a glass frame. It's glass framed, and it's a signed poster from the cast of my movie. And during an investigation here, got to be about 5 years ago now, in 2015, excuse me, it's hanging in the den, in between the den and the living room, and it's in the bar, and it hangs on the wall. And this one night that we're talking about, Ron was there, I'm talking to a group of maybe 4 people on the other side of the bar. I'm on the inside of the bar, and I'm facing the living room. And to my left is the poster in question hanging on the wall. And it's like 3 feet away from me. And this is the situation. I'm talking to people, talking about the house. And all of a sudden, I hear in my head, it's going to fall, or something to that effect. And I turn to my left, and as I'm looking, I see this framed piece, and I'm looking, oh God, I don't have a frame. I see the thing come like this, start peeling off the wall.
Wow.
Slowly. The top of it's like peeling like this, coming, and I instinctively turned to my left, rushed over and grabbed it. And as it's doing like this, and then it's coming down, it's almost going in slow motion, or correction, what I perceive as slow motion. I ran and I grabbed it. I'm about 5 inches from the floor.
Wow.
From it smashing. And that piece of glass would have shattered and shot out like a bullet.
Yeah.
With fragments like a shotgun blast. And there were 3 people. The bar was like, if the bar was here, right, here's the bar. There's a person here. Here's where the glass is going to shoot out. And there the 3 people were like this. One person was right next to it. The other 2 people were right open. So they would have gotten the blast of the... And Ron was there on the other side of them looking and saying, oh my God, I saw it. And I said, what did you get? Everybody who was there at that night, who saw it, we recorded it, it's on my YouTube channel, said that they all saw it in slow motion, peeling, as they said, it was peeling off the wall and then came straight down.
Holy cow. Well, what's great about that is you had people from different angles seeing all of that.
We didn't have any cameras, mind you, at that night and that time.
Right.
So we had somebody that interviewed everybody there, and we put it on our YouTube channel, but it was just like, people were like, and what's interesting is 2 years ago, after Quentin Tarantino was here shooting Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for the 2 days and nights he was here,
Nice.
there's a painting in the hallway near the laundry room. And here's what's interesting. It was hanging on the wall, and it almost did the same thing. Except this time, the hooks were still in the wall, the nails were still in. The frame itself split down the middle.
Wow.
The frame is about an inch thick. It literally split right down the middle itself. And what's double interesting is because it was an old newspaper from 1910, I had it put in with plexiglass. So it didn't have the weight-bearing issues if it would have been glass. Secondly, if it would have had a problem and coming down, it wouldn't have shattered and any damage would have happened.
Wow.
But literally 2 nights, this 24 hours, maybe 12 hours after they finished shooting, the thing broke down the middle of the seam of the frame, which is almost impossible.
Yeah.
And fell to the ground. As it did, there's an object that comes out of the wall, zooming around.
That's crazy. Really crazy. We actually have a place out here on Long Island, New York, where we frequently visit ourselves. We kind of call it our laboratory, where we get to do our research and, kind of practice our methodology and whatever else that we're going to, apply towards projects and, experiment with and whatever. But anyway, the client claimed a big mirror, like gigantic wall mirror that went from almost ceiling to the floor, really well anchored into the wall. And the anchor, the bolt was like, I don't know if you can see the size of my hand, but it was well anchored into the wall. And he's the caretaker of the property. He maintains the property, so he knows the house very well. And he told me it came flying off the wall and crashed and broke on the floor. And this mirror weighs a ton. And I said that had to take a ton of energy or some kind of force to have that thing fly off the wall and have the anchor break from the wall and shatter the way it did. And he kept the mirror to show us because we weren't there when it happened, but he was there and he heard what happened. And I was just flabbergasted over hearing that how well anchored that was and how that happened. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So
somebody was really upset about something, apparently.
Yeah, or they didn't like the wedding that happened, one night that they had there because they host weddings and parties and stuff like that on the weekends, and maybe somebody had too much to drink and they didn't like that person or something. But yeah, that was like when I heard that, I was like, I wish I was there to capture it.
I wish somebody had a video of that. Did they have security cameras in that location?
I wish he would because again, it's a consistently active location because we've been there enough times where I can say, yeah, there's things going on there. And I've had other people come in from outside, other investigators from all over, come, join us for an investigation. And we've done, all types of experiments to try to verify all these collaborations of pieces of equipment, with EMF and experiences. But I always try to encourage them to try to put, cameras all over. You just never know what you might capture when there's nobody there.
Exactly. That's the reason people say, why do you have cameras in your house? Don't you find it creepy? It's like, no, because if I'm not here, something happens, I've got it.
Right.
And when something does happen and I am here and it happens, I can review it. And it's amazing that you go, why not? It's like, well, I got stuff happening all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And and it's rare for a paranormal group to be able to, go visit a location that many times. So I'm grateful that we can go back. So I've been able to do investigations during different seasons of the year, different times of the day, different times of the night, and kind of verify things that way. And it's been a great experience as far as those type of investigations. But that's why I envy what you do at the David Oman House, because you really have hands-on control. You're at the helms there every day, and the things that you create. Yeah,
Aye, Captain, I'm at the helm every
yeah,
day here. Let me tell you, it's
yep,
freaking nuts.
yeah.
You can have
So,
the Enterprise all you like, golly. Let me tell you, laddie. A
so
little
we're
fun
having
taking yourself off to have yourself a time and time. No, good old Star Trek, my ass.
yeah. We're
Captain
having
Kirk.
fun here with Mr. David Oman from the Oman House. If anybody's familiar with Charles Manson and the infamous murders with Sharon Tate and a couple other big names in there, there was basically a cult. There was a following that he had. A lot of rumors and speculation as to why and how. Of course, Hollywood embellished a lot of that, but. Um, do you think that you definitely have some of the Manson ghosts there, or can you verify that maybe that there's like maybe a Tate or one of his victims that are
Well,
at,
I'll say this. I don't think that any of crap. Jeez, got white lint on me. No, I don't believe that Charles or Susan Atkins has the gall, audacity, or the chance in hell to be here. I think they've got a pre-existing was reservation for hell, for a fireside chair in hell. So no, I haven't seen them, but I have seen the apparition of Jay Sebring. Mind you, it was 16 years ago.
wow.
But yes, I saw his apparition here in the middle of the night. Others have reported seeing Abigail Folger, Sharon Tate. Others have also reported seeing Rudolph Valentino and other spirits in the neighborhood, and others, related to the Native Americans that were here
Right.
long before the place was settled by Mexico, etc.,
Hmm.
and Spain.
Right.
So there's a lot of spirits that we've seen here that have nothing to do with the Sharon Tate murders,
Yeah.
which lends itself to the idea that the house is more of a, I guess you call it a ghost flop house than anything
Hmm.
else, than
Right.
just a repository for where Sharon Tate and the other 4 victims stop by and visit.
Right.
Correction, 5 victims, Sharon's unborn son,
Right.
Paul. So that's the difference. The distinct uniqueness of the house is that, as Barry Taff had called it, the Mount Everest of haunted houses and the Disneyland for the dead.
Hmm.
And he said this, 15 years ago about the house because of the fact that it has such elevated DC EMF levels, which are electromagnetic field levels, and DC meaning direct current, not alternating current. Direct current being this is a battery. This would be DC current.
Right. Right.
AC would be going through the walls and that type of electricity. The difference is that DC current also includes static electricity, what do you call it, lightning, and the such. And as a result, the house has a very, very high elevated DC EMF level, which is inexplicable.
Yeah.
Because what Barry said is that the EMF levels that he received when he was researching the entity house in Culver City, some 1970-71, they were receiving levels on their DC EMF meters up to 2,000 milligauss, and then
Hmm.
return to normal, which is between 3 and 500 milligauss positive. In this house, he said, after a year of investigating, the house has a resident EMF level of 2,000 milligauss positive and up,
Wow.
and 2,000 milligauss negative and beyond.
Mm.
Because our meters only measure that to that level, and it could far exceed those levels that the meters are unable to reach at this point in time.
Yeah.
Since then, we've registered 6,000 milligauss positive to 6,000 milligauss negative in the house.
That's crazy. Like I said, it's one big bird cage. It's one EMF cage to, harness all that energy and give them, all, what they need to manifest and,
Exactly.
right, to create the haunting that it is. So would you safely say that you have multiple hauntings, like different types of hauntings at this point?
I'd say that, yeah, and I want to say something that when people say the word poltergeist activity,
Mm-hmm.
nobody really has seen poltergeist activity, what it really means. Meaning, poltergeist is German for noisy ghost. When a figurine gets knocked over, people go, "Oh my God, it's a poltergeist." I said, "No, that's not a poltergeist, dear. A poltergeist is a much more volatile, aggressive, creatively destructive type of a spirit.
Right.
Spirits knocking figurines over, spirits, moving a bottle of wine or a glass of wine across the dining room table. That is not, I repeat, is not a poltergeist make."
Yeah, and it's not little Carol Ann being sucked into a TV tube.
No. But reference point.
Right.
That scene in the room where all of her stuff is whirling around like in a tornado, that would be considered poltergeist activity. Why?
Right. Correct.
Because it rises above the level of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
This going flying across the room, if that happened, is not poltergeist activity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to break it to you. They're trying to get your freaking attention is all.
Right.
Just because they're doing a single unit object movement.
Yeah.
That you consider, oh my God, they do this. Look, I'll go so far as to say even when the spirits took 2 Pyrex bowls that were in my Lazy Susan in the kitchen, and a Lazy Susan is basically a 2-level contraption that has a pull in the middle, and you swing it around to get access to the rest of the objects on the platform that are in the back of the thing. They swing around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that cabinet, where there's a Lazy Susan, there were 2 Pyrex bowls, or dishes, I guess, bowls, that were there. And there's about an inch high lip around the edge of the platform, so objects don't go beyond the platform and over and into the space and then break. So these 2 bowls were there, and I was in the kitchen and then walked out of the house and heard this large crash sound of glass.
Wow.
For 6 months, I did not know what it was. And it was recorded on the camera, so I put it on my YouTube channel. 6 months later, I went into the kitchen, and I went in to get to something out of the Lazy Susan, and I heard crack, crack, crack when I started to move it. I looked behind it with a flashlight. There were these 2 large Pyrex bowls that were apparently lifted up and moved over above the lip and dropped down 12 inches or 15 inches and smashed on the floor.
Holy cow. That's a lot of height.
I made the connection that was what it was, the sound it was 6 months earlier. And we listened to every single camera on different floors. You could hear the sound echoing through the different floors because of where the impact was and how it acoustically was affecting it, getting down through the floor levels below it, so you could hear it all the way 30 feet below.
Wow.
Which I said, oh my God. And I thought to myself, would that be considered poltergeist activity? I said that possibly only because it was so much of an energy to pick up these 2 bowls and drop them down.
Right. I guess what you think. Yeah.
But outside of that, no. A chair sliding from one room to the other, no. The faucets turning on by themselves, no. Stuff like that I don't consider poltergeist activity just because it's their way of saying, hi, we're here.
Right. And there are some things that happen that could just be residual, where things that happen, but not necessarily like you say, because they're not poltergeist, but it could be just an event that took place at that time, and that's residual.
But the house is a new house, so it's kind of hard to get to see. I have a problem with residual and stuff only because that we're trying to, and I said, well, there's a problem. Here's my thing. The house is brand new. There was nothing here before. It was a vacant piece of lot even before 1969, and before that, it's always been a vacant lot. So I don't know what residual would be here that would be knocking over the figurines. But the thing is it, for my understanding, is for residual, I mean, it would be a place that was somebody lived there before, and that you're now moving in, and that spirit was there before. But if there was nothing here before, how do we have something that's now here new, and yet we're saying he's
good point.
It's like
No, I wasn't. Yeah, my point was not necessarily the David Oman house, but I say in general, like there are other locations where people make mistakes. Right.
It's not a poltergeist. People stop. We've overused the word poltergeist, and the only thing I can think of is, God, Carolyn in that room of the horse. That was a real poltergeist event, and people don't understand. A poltergeist is somebody that's really going out of his way to be like, F you. F you, F you, F you, F
Yeah.
you, F you, F. And it's just like so many times they're doing it. It's
Right.
like it's like throwing things around. It's like and they're frenetic energy. That's this sliding across the dining table or something. A table's like going, wow,
Right.
that's a poltergeist. It's like, no, it's a spirit just letting you know that they're here.
Right.
Something, a tug at your hat, going, oh my God, something just touched me. It's like, it's a poltergeist. He goes, no, it's a spirit saying hello. It's, my God, people.
Right. No, another question I have for you is, since you work closely with Dr. Barry Taff, I know him. I'm acquaintances of his from the past. Met him at quite several events, speaking engagements and whatnot. I remember him and interviewing him as well. Some of his theory about poltergeists and stuff, where he thinks that sometimes a person can manifest things from suppressed feelings and trauma that they may have experienced, and it could also kind of like portray a potential poltergeist, but not really, but it's coming from that person more than poltergeist per se.
Also, people with epilepsy, he also said,
Right.
were also, he made the statement which stuck. Unfortunately, it's not true. He goes, people with epilepsy comes into this house, God knows what's going to happen. I've had a guy named Mark Paranormal, Mark came out from New Orleans and surprised the hell out of me. Drove out from New Orleans, and the kid is in a wheelchair. He drove himself all the way across country, and Mark brought himself into the house with his wheelchair without any real assistance, and was able to go through the house and had the time of his life, and stuff happened for him. And I said, Mark, you're a testament to the true human spirit that in spite of any hardship put in front of us, we can all find a way to overcome it. And I was so enamored of his ability and saying, I will not allow my accident of what happened to me, where I'm paralyzed from the waist down, to to inhibit my life and my dreams. And he didn't have any problems here. And I've had other people, and it was kind of like, Barry, that's a heavy toll to pay to those that want to check the house out that might be epileptic. I said, that's a bad thing. And
Right.
I said the same thing with it's a theory's been around for many years about what Barry's alluding to, which is
Right.
sometimes a childlike manifestation. A childlike mental capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's got an adolescent mindset can have, I want to say, outbreaks or can lash out through their mental abilities, telekinesis. And basically make stuff happen. To what I believe and understand about that, I don't put a lot of. It's a theory, and I've yet to see it really proven. I have a hard time putting it on external forces doing it. Not saying that it's a spirit, but diminishing that. Why? Because I have stuff happen here all the time, and I am not prone to adolescent type of outbreaks and this and that, and making this stuff happen.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of diminishes the paranormal. Again, I think it's a nice theory. It's a wonderful theory to have. Do I put a lot of stock in it? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I know that he said that when he was investigating the Playboy Mansion for the girls next door, that one of the girls, he says, was irradiating this type of energy. I forgot which one it was. And it was on the show, and I was like, when he goes, oh yeah, he goes, the meters would go crazy when the meters were near her. Yeah. And I said, why does that have to mean? See, there are many ways to slice an apple.
Sure.
You want to slice it this way? I want to slice it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you say that? Because you're assessing that attributing the cause as to this individual. What if, just what if, that individual is a harbinger or a magnet for spirits?
Yeah.
And it's not that they are doing this and making this all happen.
Right.
But they're bringing it to them, and therefore, because when you go near a skunk, you get sprayed, you still smell like a skunk. And
I hate
therefore
that
it pushes outwards.
Yeah.
So the association of the spirits being around her, that they're around her, and so when that she's around this, they decide to say, "Hey, I'm going to do this."
Right.
And instead of saying it's her doing it, and it's the spirits not doing it, is what he's saying. And I said, well, maybe it's the spirits that are around her that are doing it, and she has a lot of them around her because she's energetic, and they have an affinity towards her, having
Right.
nothing to do with her adolescent behavior, which just happens to be her personality.
Right.
It
Right.
might be the fact that she's schizophrenic. It might be a multitude of things
Yeah.
having nothing to do with the fact that spirits are still attracted to her, and you're diminishing that by
Yeah.
saying that it's a psychological. It's like, all right, great. Now, what if it isn't? What if it is what I'm saying? Because the theories that are proposed, I go, great. Here's a great theory, or a myth I like to call. Be careful what you wear when you die. You know, what you wear out the morning you leave, because if you die, you'll wear that for eternity. Bull and shit. The only apparition I ever saw full body was of Jay Sebring. I did not recognize Jay Sebring for a number of reasons. His hair was not straight. It was kinked and coarse and parted to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Never saw pictures of Jay like that.
Right.
2, he was not wearing those god-awful striped jeans he was wearing when he was killed. No offense, Jay, I have to apologize every time I say this, but boy, those god-awful, those striped jeans were horrendous, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We don't want him to throw stuff at him right now. I need him, I guess, tonight on the show. So don't throw anything at him.
Jay, you know, I just have to express my opinion about those jeans. I probably had a pair like them myself, but I wouldn't be caught dead in them today. Nor were you when I saw you, so let's be honest. They weren't good enough for you to be wearing, since I would have said, Jason, that's got to be Jason. I remember those goddamn jeans. I've seen those striped jeans before. Son of a, you know what?
Although, with all due respect, even if something like that did happen, it would actually be cool to catch it on the show while that something like that would happen. Not that I want to see you get harmed or anything, but
who gonna get harmed? Why am I gonna get harmed?
No, I'm saying if an object gets thrown at you.
Oh, the worst thing they do is they might fan me with my book, but I don't think they're gonna harm me.
Yeah.
But so like I said, so that was one of the things that I realized when I saw the apparition, that he was totally dressed in a suit current to his era, with a short lapel, 4 buttons down the center, and he wasn't all mashed up.
Yeah.
He didn't look like a decomposing corpse. He didn't look like, here I got my gunshot wounds. Here's where I got my. I mean, it didn't look anything like that.
Right.
He also was pointing to the property next door to mine 8 years before somebody bought the land and then decided to basically remove the entire mountain slope and build his home, where it's the concrete wall going along the street 80 feet, goes 60 feet down, and then pulled out the entire mountain below it, so they took the hillside out to build his concrete home. So with that one story and one incident of me seeing Jay Sebring, it cleared up a lot of myths.
Yeah.
And misnomers about the paranormal, about spirits. Meaning
Right.
you're not going to come back the way, you were killed. You're not going to look like a rotting corpse like they did in American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
You're not going to end up becoming, being all grizzled, and you're not going to come back as the way you died. And also that they know that there's something to be said for the fact that they seem to know the future before it's happened to us, but they know it.
Right.
So those 4 little myths about the paranormal got cleared up in a minute with seeing Jay Sebring, and to this day bear fruits in the fact that I go, son of a goddamn bitch. That's what that's about. Wow. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. No, sure. We're at 9 o'clock. We have 20 minutes or so to go with the show here. But before I forget, because this is important, without the listener, there would be no show. I want to give a big shout out to the guys in the chat group, because you might see some familiar people, We have Nicole Gaspard is in the chat.
There they are.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm on the private chat thing. Clicked and I don't see any goddamn chat. What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
We have one here. Yep. We have Eric.
Yes, if anybody wants to get a signed copy of the book, go to ghostsofcielodrive.com to get your copy. I'm trying to see. There it is. I'll show you. There, right here.
There you go. I'll also post information on our Facebook page, Dave. So, guys, if you tune in late or later on, you're not going to miss any information. I'll put it on our Facebook page for Dave. Any website information.
Hatchet.
Yeah, Hatchet.
We have Eric Hatchet on. Eric Hatchet is one of these unique friends of mine that has been here, who has a story and a half, or I'll have to tell it for you, Hatchet. Eric is a guitarist and a scuba diver aficionado now. Jacques Cousteau's cousin.
Nice.
That's right. So Eric was here with some people a few years back. God, it's got to be like 10 years ago. My God. And this has got to be more than 10 years ago, because we didn't have the whole theater room was not developed. So it was just an empty room and a wall. And on one corner of the room, we had a couple of shovels that were there. I know, shovels, but just humor me, full-size shovels. And we went into the earthen wall room, and we came out, and we were standing there watching the movie. All of a sudden, one of the shovels got knocked over on its own, and it made a big clankety-clank sound, and Eric was like, what the hell was that? And it was like, Eric was like, oh my God. He goes, did you guys? He goes, oh my God, I heard it. And it was like, there were no cameras in the house at the time, so it was really fun and crazy, but it was like we all had the experience. I think it was on My Ghost Story or Paranormal Witness or Haunted, one of those two shows that Eric was on and was interviewed about his experience here with that incident, and it was just crazy, because as Eric says, he was just talking about Sharon Tate, and it was like almost as if on cue, the shovels got knocked over, like to say, yeah, we're here, don't worry, we're here. It was nuts.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, we have Anthony Simonelli's in the chat, Laura Simonelli. They all say hello.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Anthony.
Yeah, Mr. Roy Poole.
Anthony, I got to be honest with you. Unless COVID is tapped out and tapped down and tapped out and done, it's going to be kind of hard to do anything here.
Yeah.
Hi, Laura.
We have Philip Pierce.
Throwing hard.
Yeah.
Gonna get pushed yeah, that's right. He got pushed in the bathroom. I mean, I've had people have so many experiences here physically, not harmful experiences, but experiences where like somebody gets their hair pulled or gets pushed to the ground by forces, like somebody's pushing on their shoulders. It's like, wait, somebody's pushing me down to the ground, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Eric Hatchet said he got thrown hard. Then he got pushed in the back of the bathroom. Right. Hey, out of all places, the bathroom. Hey, why not?
Like I said, when my friend Adam went in the bathroom, and he's like, I go to the bathroom. Said, yeah, go to the bathroom. The doors goes in there, and he's like, and he says, all of a sudden I hear the water running, going shh, and he goes like, what the, and he turns around, and he sees the faucets, both faucets turned on, full bath. He goes, oh shit! He ran out. I said, where's it? Goes, your faucets turned on. I said, what do you mean they turned? He goes, I ran in there to take a leak.
Yeah.
And I had to go. He said, I've got to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden the faucets turn on. And
Oh,
I
wow.
like freaked out. He's like cut me off in midstream. I'm like going, oh, that's gotta hurt. He goes, oh, it did.
Yeah.
I haven't even zipped. They said, go put yourself away.
Oh,
go
boy.
finish up. So I went back in the bathroom and turned the faucet off and going, I said, to him you do this? I said, you do this to him. I mean, a la Larry Davis, like, what, I'm not good enough? What, I've been here for how many years? You pull that stunt for him?
Yeah.
What a bunch of, I said, you ungrateful bastards. The first person you should test your gags out on me, I should be the one. I belong first. Every single time. You should do it in front of me first before you've practiced your gags on anybody else, because it's a bad reflection on me. And you should check me first. I mean, I'm your agent. I'm your manager. What are you doing to me? Come on. Don't freak out the customer so I don't even know what the hell's going on. I need to experience it first. So I'm going, oh, it happened to you too, huh? Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Laura Simonelli says, "What's with the bathroom ghosties?" LOL. That's where great ideas come. Get great ideas, right? Where you think of everything. That's why.
No, I do not have cameras in the bathrooms. I like what Eric wrote. I thought it was a private bathroom. Nope.
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick funny story.
Yeah.
Speaking of bathrooms, you get a kick out of this. We were at a place recently, and my wife fell in the toilet seat.
What?
The toilet was big enough where she actually fell in it.
How big is a toilet you could actually fall into it?
Yeah, it was not your normal sized toilet bowl. Let's just put it that way. Long story short, it's a very dark bathroom, very masculine. It's like very black, like black marble all over. So it's everything's black. The toilet's black. The sink is black and gold. It's like dark in there. So I could find it, kind of easily hard to see where everything is, especially if you don't have the lights on. But my wife was going to the bathroom and she felt that something closed the door on her. She couldn't get the door open. Something pushed her back and she fell on the toilet. She tried to get out and she was pushing on the door and it wouldn't open. And she was screaming for help. And she was going, help, help, somebody help. No one heard her. No one came and helped her because nobody could hear her. And it was just kind of funny because it happened to my wife and we were all kind of laughing at her.
I've had similar to happen here at the house on the 3rd level guest bathroom, probably the one that Hatchet's talking about, where people have been locked into the bathroom. I said, what do you mean? I said, the door locks from the inside, idiots. I said, it's not on the outside. We're locking you in. He goes, no, we can't get the door unlocked. We can't get the door. And then the door is unlocked. And I go, see? He goes, no, the door. I said, it can't happen. I said, no. Yes, Laura, potty talk. You bet.
Yeah.
Potty talk. What's the matter with you? Everybody's got to go.
Yeah. Hey,
we know the discussion we should all be having is what's wrong with potty talk?
Yeah,
potty
exactly.
talk is good for you.
Right.
Get yourself the gosh darn stool so that you can make those little squirrely things like that funny unicorn with that gosh darn little fucking thing. What was it? Squatty potty. You gotta have your squatty potty.
There you go. Well, that's because we got David Oman on the podcast. That's why it's potty. No, it's
potty
good.
Talk.
Yeah,
That's
we're
right. It's potty
having
talk.
fun, guys.
All kinds of potty we like to talk about.
Yeah, we like the potty. All right, guys. You have questions? Shoot them our way. I'll try to get.
Come on, give me something to work with.
Yeah,
exactly. I feel like Beetlejuice. You got nothing to work with. What's the matter with you? I need something to work with. Come on, give me a question. You got the dead man here, and the hereafter, and the after there, and the here there.
Yeah.
God, my God Almighty, what the hell's the matter with you?
If they wanted
give me something to work with,
If they wanted to set up an investigation there, other than COVID right now, like how would they go about it?
Well, I just was in the discussions today with the Heart of Hollywood magazine, and it looks like we will be doing a live 10-hour streaming event from the Oman House. That's right, with the Heart of Hollywood magazine and productions. It'll be Halloween night from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Gonna do a little bit of everything. It's not gonna be just haunting and schmonting. I might actually read a couple of stories off of a book or two. Short stories as a matter of fact. Going to show some video footage of what we've captured here at the house that's not been seen. I don't have it up on YouTube. Some crazy stuff. Going to have some interviews with some people. Going to do a live seance from here at the house. Nice. It has not been announced yet. I'm just working on the details. By Saturday, 3 weeks before the event, we'll announce it and start putting up the tickets and stuff. And that would be at theomanhouse.com. Here, let me show you again. See where it says Instagram, The Oman House? Somewhere on there it says theomanhouse.com, doesn't it? Jesus Christ.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do one even better, Dave. I'm going to share my screen. I have your website up.
Check out theomanhouse.com. It'll all be up there, kids. God, I can't believe I'm so unprepared. God, I need preparation H. Jesus Christ. My God.
Let's see if everybody gets this. Guys, this is the website, the Oman House. I hope I have the right website.
There it is, theomanhouse.com. That's my puppy.
Yep. That's the website. That's where you go. Get all the info when it's available. So I just want to give everybody a chance to get this down. So write it down. Got a pen,
please,
grab
guys.
Bookmark it, whatever you got to do.
Like I said, and it'll be fun. Like I said, we're going to have the seance, going to do a ghost investigation. I'm going to have some people live interview here. Going to have some people streaming in. We're trying to get a sponsor, a friend of mine, it would be great because I think that to have their sponsorship would open up a lot of markets to them. Because let's be honest, let me ask you a question: when you're ghost hunting, what is your usual turn-to snack that you can grab and eat?
Believe it or not, peach rings.
Really? I don't believe it, but okay. Is that a
No,
regional thing or what? Because I was going to say I don't know if you have that
so
out
if you
here.
you know like CVS, you go to CVS and you go to the candy aisle and they have those, the bags with like gummy bears, and
Right?
they got the peach rings with the sugar on them. I love peach rings.
What would you? What would you? But don't you find you get a little bit of a whatchamacallit coffee donut? Right. But Anthony, when you're eating that, don't you notice that you get that quick sugar buzz and you're hitting it hard and then it's you're done. You're like, oh man, I need another. I can't go on, man. I got that sugar rush and I need it now.
Yeah,
But what your body is craving for is protein.
right.
Because you need something to keep you going and keep you working and gradually give you the energy that you need on a slow level build versus what would you say if I said beef jerky?
Wow. That's
Eat,
interesting. I've never seen anybody eat beef jerky on an investigation.
but think about it. It's compact. It's easy to carry. You can put it in your pocket in a little Ziploc bag, or you can get it from like I was going to say. The people I'm talking about is Jack Link's beef jerky. Some friends of mine that are one of the CEO and his son were here a few years back. They no Red Bull. Come on, give me a break. You want to go turning into a speed demon there, Anthony? Give me a break. Yeah. I see it goes. You hear it goes? I hear it. Oh yeah. Goes.
Yeah. All that caffeine.
Oh yeah, give me a rush.
Yeah.
No, so like I said, it's easy, and I thought to myself, something, they're promoting it with Jack Link's, beef jerky, that we're gonna do the Sasquatch. I'm thinking, well, here's another paranormal idea: making bags that are for ghost hunting bags, little Ziploc bags for ghost hunting, tied into ghost hunting. Why?
Right.
Because when you're ghost hunting, you take that thing, open up the thing, get it out, put it in.
Yeah.
It's satisfying. It's delicious. You have a nice stomach full of some juices, of some energy building protein. You're not going to burn. Alligator jerky. I'll have to see if they have that, Laura. Obviously, if they do, that's good. Good soda. Well, you could have a good soda too, but again, you're going to have that caffeine rush, and you're going to be a little bit indigestion with the gosh darn soda. But the idea is at least with the Jack Links, I thought, let's go for them and promote the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Ghost hunting, because it makes sense.
Yeah. Why is it you get the munchies after an investigation when you come home at like 3-4 in the morning?
Because the whole time you haven't nourished yourself.
Yeah.
The whole time you're sitting there starving going,
Yeah.
what do we got to eat? Crackers. Oh, that's good. Give us some more carbohydrates to weigh me down, because that doesn't help you when you're investigating. Carbs are good beforehand. When you're in the process of investigating, you're burning calories like this.
Yep.
And the thing you're going to burn is, you don't want to burn sugar, you don't want to burn carbs, you don't want the fruit, and the fructose will get you that quick buzz. You want something that's going to be sustainable, that's going to carry you on. That's why I said the Jack Links makes sense.
Yeah.
If it's turkey jerky or chicken jerky or whatever jerky you want, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So and water, of course, water. You need water because you need to hydrate. But that's
you gotta.
done. That's when we did the investigations here. I put out a full table of snacks for people to come up and eat. I said, why? Because in the middle of the night, you're 2 a.m, you're starving. You're gonna hit the gosh darn refrigerator and go raid my refrigerator. No chance. Someone did that last time. I ate my damn dog food, my pet loaf, and so this is good. I said, yeah, it's my dog's food. I made it for themselves.
Right.
But I said no. We used a full spread of meatballs and hummus and pita bread and vegetable platter and cheese platter and crackers and guacamole and chips and salsa.
Yeah.
And cookies and stuff, because they're gonna get hungry.
Yeah, but no alcohol during investigations.
No.
No alcohol.
No, I had people do it, but I just thought people got sloppy and messy, and I didn't need that. And the one time somebody actually drank a full bottle of wine, unbeknownst to me, I said, he drank a bottle of freaking wine in the past
whole bottle?
hour and a half.
Wow. Damn.
Didn't lead to good outcomes. Let's leave it at that.
What was it? At least a good bottle of wine?
Well, no, it was something they brought, but it was like you
Yeah,
can't do that. I said no,
right.
no.
Hey, wine and spirits, they say, right?
Wine 'em and dine 'em, I guess. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, with your time at the Oman House, what are some of the myths that you've been able to kind of put to rest, or some that are still left open that put a big question mark on what's still a myth versus what isn't? What are some of the biggest things that you think, um, some of the biggest myths that you've come across yourself being there that you can say, all right, I know this isn't, right, or this is right, and
well, yeah. I mean, like I said, when I saw Jay Sebring, 15 years, 16 years ago, I realized that ghosts aren't here to harm us. We don't live in a world of Jason Blum. We don't live in a world of the Warrens. I don't care how much you want to think that the Warrens actually were legitimate. They were frauds, and their stories that have been embellished and turned into Hollywood feature films and the franchise are entertainment. That's it. There's not one single shred of usable evidence or usable material from any of those films at all. Sorry, kids, I'm not here to blow hot sunshine up your butts. I'm here to tell you the truth.
yeah,
It's the Warrens were born out to be frauds in the 70s, late 70s, and whatever credibility they had went away then. The fact that some gosh darn movie studio took upon themselves to see their books and to turn them into a franchise doesn't mean squat, because even the people that the books were originally based upon have claimed that the films are nothing related closely to what occurred in their real world stories. So, with that said, literary license or studio or the film movie license was taken in all of those films that, they're entertainment purposes. Great,
right.
but it's not real.
Yeah, I always say to people there's a huge difference between paranormal entertainment and paranormal investigations.
Right. For the most part, honestly, ghost hunting is slow, dull, and tedious. It's more slow and dull and tedious than deep sea fishing. Meaning, when I was a kid, they said we go deep sea fishing. I said, what does it require? It goes 90% patience and 10% luck.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing holds true for spirits. And the idea that you can get a spirit box and this and that, and they're programmable, and it's an intermediary device to communicate with the spirits. I don't put a lot of faith in, because where the goddamn hell? Because these cameras have recorded voices on their own, not searching for spirits, but just happenstance during regular everyday life.
yeah,
I don't need to go looking for ghosts. They make themselves quite, as you say, known and
hmm,
apparently here, and we've recorded their voices when I'm not looking for them, and not with a Frank's box or a spirit box or an Ovulus or whatever the heck the latest version is.
right.
We've just picked them up.
Yeah,
The voices, I'm saying, we've picked the voices of the spirits up loud and clear, and it's like, oh wow, that's nuts. I don't believe it, but I'm always amazed and amused, but I'm never concerned. I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna threaten. They're threatening me. They're
yeah,
not here to threaten you. The idea that people think that a ghost is trying to hurt them. Let me ask them a question. If Sharon Tate, Wojciech Frykowski, Abigail Folger, Stephen Parent, and Jay Sebring and Sharon's unborn son Paul Tate are dead at the hands of Charles Manson, Patricia Krenwinkel, Susan Atkins, Tex Watson, Linda Kasabian, etc., etc.
right.
And almost every single one of those people had been sitting rotting in jail 23 hours a day for the past 40 some odd years until their deaths. Susan
Hmm.
Atkins and Charles Manson, I refer to. Why did we never hear from those individuals from jail screaming and yelling about they're tormented by the spirits of the victims who they put in the grave? Not to mention Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, Shorty Shea, and the countless other people that were put to death at the hands of Manson at his request or his behest,
Right.
and executed upon by those. Gary Hinman as well. How come? How come that for those years in jail they didn't scream, yell, and say, oh my God, we're being tormented and pestered and haunted by them? Yet you seem to claim that there's a spirit of somebody you have no idea who's haunting and molesting you and actually has it out for you.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever hear the logic that makes absolutely positively no sense whatsoever?
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. No, you have a good point.
I mean, think about that, folks.
Yeah.
The spirits really, outside of books like A Christmas Carol, outside of movies, etc., where do you see spirits rattling chains, tied to one location with a ball and chain around them so they can't leave? Outside of Disneyland and the Haunted Mansion, which, yes, you can see that spirit, the hitchhiking ghost with a ball and chain. You don't see that crap because it really doesn't exist outside of literature, fiction, and films and TV shows that want to promote that, like super factual. I mean, natural.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great for fiction, but it ain't real. So when you start to realize that's hocus pocus bogus, it's not real. Look, I've been living here for 18 years in this place, and I've had spirits do a ton of stuff here, and it's like, okay. And people go, you're not afraid. It's like, after the millionth time, how many times are you going to ride the razor's edge till you're like shredded to bits to chip beef, and you're like going, there's nothing left of me. It's like after a while you're like, okay, I've seen it enough. All right, you want to do something different, Right, come on, you got to be more fucking creative on the other side and not limited to so few goddamn tricks.
Right.
Stand a chair on its side or something. Do something interesting. Be creative. Come on.
Yeah.
Fly the cat around for a few seconds in air, but you put that son of a bitch down on the ground gently. Don't you dare throw it around like it's a football you're playing with. That's what I mean. I have an attitude about the paranormal because it's real. Because I can't go, oh God, oh my God, oh my God. Here's my Bible. Protect me, Bible. Protect me, Bible. Protect me. I don't believe in you, but protect me. Oh, but I do believe in you. I believe in this. This I believe in. This I believe in because this was put out for one simple reason. Zach Baggins. Oh, crap. I said his name. God, forgive me. Spirits, please forgive me. I said the name of a charlatan. Don't smite me with your god-awful sword. Please don't. Please, I'm your humble servant. Please don't smite me. I do declare I apologize in deepest regards for mentioning his ugly, despicable name.
I believe in karma. So if people are doing bad things, then bad things will come back to you.
Well, what happened was it got to the point where a couple of years ago I had an interview, done a podcast with Bridget Marquardt of The Girls Next Door. She was here. She's the ghost magnet. Little shout out to Bridge. And she was here with my friend Scott Michaels from Dearly Departed Tours. And Scott and I were talking off camera, and Scott said, well, Benedict Canyon was once Native American ceremonial burial grounds. And I was like, say what?
Uh-oh. Here we go.
And he says, this is... And I said, where did you hear that from?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, Zach Baggins told me. I'm sorry again. I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm sorry, Minefield. I'm so sorry. And I said, what the... I said, since when has this guy become a scientist, an anthropologist, a sociologist, an archaeologist? Where the living God, the flying... I said, do you have any idea? I said, do you believe it? He goes, oh, he said it. It has to be just... I said, I'm here to tell you that not one stitch and bitch and word of what he said is at all accurate, to be repeated and said ever again. I said, it's an absolute crock of crap. I said, I've done research for the area after his claims, and I found that there were no such reports of any uncoverings of any remains of Native Americans from the 1920s, except for one. Once, in one newspaper here locally, did I find that it was reported. And mind you, there's over 1,000 some odd homes up here, and until Native American repatriation became an issue in 1976, before that, it would have been newsworthy that somebody would have done a story about, uncovering the bones of Native Americans and this and that.
Yeah.
And the only time it came up was in 1925, when the Beverly Hills First Women's Club that was being built down the street from here, where they uncovered the remains of 3 Native Americans from a battle from 85 years earlier in 1842 that took place,
Hmm.
or 83 years earlier in 1842, and that's it. And
Yeah.
in 1842, I found out the history was that whole area was all walnut groves, and the Native Americans came down from the hills up here and made a raid on the original homestead that was there of this woman who's a widower who was living there on her ranch, and they would descend upon the land and steal horses and other animals. And on this one occasion, her ranch hands were on watch and basically started a running battle with the Native Americans for a mile. And then a mile later, up in this location in the middle of the walnut grove, 3 of them were killed on the spot and buried.
Mm.
The rest of the troop made haste and got out of there.
Mm.
The point is that was the only time that I found that, and that was the only occasion in 100 and some odd years that it was reported. He goes off and says his spewy dooey nuts.
Oh, of course. You got to
And people
embellish
start
it.
listening, and I said, no, I said, no, I have to write a book to straighten it out. So I went and I wrote this book to basically tell my story, to tell the story of the Native Americans in the area, to give them a voice. Because, look, you say Beverly Hills, Native American, no, what are you, cockeyed? It's like, Beverly Hills has only been in existence for about 100 years.
Right,
Before
right.
that, this, that, and the other thing, the history I go into in the first chapters of this book about what the whole story about this area was and why it's so active now, and then about my house and about the Sharon Tate murders and about, of course, the what was taking place here in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, aside from Sharon Tate, and about my own life and the connectivity to the Sharon Tate murders and the connectivity still through thread to why I'm here today in this house down the street from her house. And when you look at it, going back to 1969, in my life, you go, wow, that's some strange interconnectivity of a thread that's not just a pin thread. It's a thick thread that connects it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's an interesting story, and the fact that Creepy Crawl was perpetrated on my parents' house in 1970 is another story that you go, what? It's in the book. It's in the book. And it's strange as it seems, yeah, it's just a lot of coincidences or connections to me and the murders, and in a fashion you go, wow, that's nuts. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, there's something about it. That's why I'm not surprised that I live here, but I'm grateful and happy that I do.
Yeah. Me personally, I don't believe in coincidences anymore, just because I've had so many things happen to me personally that I've had happen to me too many times where I say, no, that's just not a coincidence, and it's happened so many times where I'm like, no, it just, that's just me. But guys, Dave, where can they get your book?
Ghosts, you can get the book at Ghosts of Cielo Drive. Let me get that card focus. There you go. Ghosts, that's plural, ghostsofcielodrive.com.
Yep.
And of course, they can go to there. It is theomanhouse.com for events and ghost hunts.
I'm also going to share your website again.
Yes, youtube.com/David Oman. God, I wish this thing would figure out how to focus. Well,
there you go.
Yes, there's my website.
Guys,
and like I said, the book, I'm signing the books. It's $20 for the signed copy of the book, and if they want a personally inscribed signature, it's $25. It's an extra $5, and I'm more than happy to take care of that for my audience. And like I said, Halloween should be fun here because we've never done a live streaming event. I've done recorded events here, but this time, since Halloween's on a Saturday night and most of the country's going to be on a lockdown of sorts, I think this will be a fun event. We'll dress the house up with what I'm going to do is I'm going to put stationary, non-audio animatronic, non-reactive types of Halloween decorations.
Cool.
In front of the house and inside the house. So if you hear a voice here that we record, it will not be, oh, it's one of the Halloween devices going off. Bull crap. I'm making sure that, because they said, we'll dress the house up. But I said, nothing that's going to be movable, nothing that's going to be, animated, none of that. No. It'll be all standing still. It might be a demon or something, or a goblin, and it might be hanging on a string, but he won't be like, ah! None of that crap.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
said, you're coming to a haunted house to see a house. And my friend said, but it's Halloween. It's Halloween. It's like,
Yeah, but they don't understand, the whole reason behind that.
exactly. So we're going to dress the house up. I've got all the tombstones I'm going to put across the hills, on the hillside in front of the house. But everything, like I said, anything that happens is going to be authentic. So
Right.
during the seance, if you hear voices, ain't none of that BS that I'm putting in here with like sounds of the haunted house in the back. No. None of that stuff. Because what's the point of having an authentic haunted house if you try to fake a haunted house in
Right.
an authentic haunted house? It doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to just give you a moment if you want to take the time at the end of the show. We're at the end already, 9:30. Time an hour and a half goes fast. Dave, if there's any like quick shout outs that you'd like to do to anybody that you know or want to take the moment for your fans or family or friends, people you work with, and of course if you have any big events other than Halloween, which we just shared, which is great. Any information for events that are coming up?
Just like I said, we're going to have the live streaming event here on Halloween night, Saturday night, from 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 2 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, which is 9 o'clock in the morning East Coast time to 5 in the morning East Coast time. You'll have tickets available at theomanhouse.com.
Sounds really fun.
Like I said, I'm going to see about getting Nick Groff and Elizabeth Saint back on. I've had them on 2 months ago for a live streaming event. They were great. 15 minutes turned into 2.5 hours.
Nice.
We'll definitely have some interesting people and personalities zooming in. I was going to say, if you like it and you're around, you want to, sign up and say, David, I want to zoom in. It's like, all right, we'll have you as one of our guests. Going to have Ron on because Ron's got some great stories to talk about.
I'd love to.
Experiences here.
Yeah.
And see who else we can get on to, come on, just to be on. See about talking to Rick McCallum because he wanted to come out last time and then he wanted to Zoom, and it didn't work out. So we might actually try to get him out here. Going to probably have the Harley twins doing the ghost investigation. My
Nice.
two friends that are huge ghost magnets. Stuff happens around them like this. It's just crazy. They come in
Cool.
the house and it's like, all right, spirits are already active. God bless it. Every time you girls walk in the house, it's a guarantee that something's gonna happen, and it's
Cool.
just like, and it'll be fun. We'll do the seance, a live seance with Lily Caron Willis, which is always crazy stuff. And it won't be the regular humdrum like we're doing it for like hours. We'll do it for half an hour, take a break, come back and start up. We'll do some ghost investigations. It'll be fun. And the fact that I've got the cameras through the house, we'll be able to watch when they're in different parts of the house. The cameras in the other parts of the house will be able to capture and show you, the audience, what's going on in the house at the same time.
Nice. That's great. So, guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight's show. Without the viewers or the listeners, there is no show. I want to thank all you guys in the chat group that participated in the chat. There was a lot of people in there. So a big shout out to you guys. Dave, it was great having you on the Strange Oddities podcast. I think we had a lot of fun. I hope I was a gracious host.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, Matthew. It was fun,
Yeah.
to say the least,
Yeah. No.
I get a kick out of it, and like I said, I have a different attitude about the paranormal than most people just because I live it. And I don't, you once you put yourself in that environment and you stop playing it like, oh my God, it's this, it's the demons and you stop playing that kind of BS that you were taught as a child about and you start to realize that this is real, that's bullshit. And
Right.
the reality is they ain't trying to scare you, they're just trying to say hello and check up on you. And if the spirit's being an asshole, that's because they're probably an asshole in life. And there's nothing you can do about it. They're not a demon. They're just a son of a you-know-what. Just like most people in real life, all a spirit is somebody that's no longer got their body, and they're still holding that same spirit energy, that soul around. And that's it. There's nothing really...
I'm a firm believer that who you are now is who you're going to carry yourself wherever you go next.
I completely agree with you 100%.
Yep. So
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. But Dave, stay on with me. We'll say goodbye after I play my exit here. It's been a pleasure, though. I'll get all your info on my Facebook page. I'll share that, with everybody on Facebook. So wherever you guys can, wherever you visit, either YouTube or Facebook, all that info will be on there. You can replay this on our YouTube channel at any time. It'll hopefully be processed within the next few hours. Facebook, you can watch immediately, so you can share the link from Facebook anywhere. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify. We're everywhere. We're on the KGRA Radio Network, so I appreciate them for plugging us. All right, so I'm going to go in solo mode here, and hope everybody enjoyed our guest, David Oman from the Oman House. Guys, I really recommend, if you're out in California, go to the Oman House. Go to the website, watch the live stream for Halloween. Sounds a lot of fun, guys. Just, I recommend it. So do it. It's Halloween. It's October. Have fun. All right. Guys, have a great night. I'm going to play my video here. Go to solo mode. Just real quick, guys. Next week, I have the pleasure of hosting and interviewing Mr. Lloyd Auerbach. It will be here October 15th on the Strange Oddities Podcast. He's got a new book out called Near Death. It's an investigation into near-death experiences. Can't wait to discuss his new book and latest happenings in his career with his parapsychology and his projects with the Ryan Institute. So can't wait to hear all about that. So I just want to let you guys know Lloyd Auerbach is going to be on the Strange Oddities Podcast. We're going to be maybe possibly a half-hour start time, 8:30, not 8 o'clock, 8:30 on October 15th, just, to accommodate our guests for that week. So stay tuned for that, guys. So I can't wait. All right, guys, have a great night. We're going to play our video, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Strange Oddities Podcast. You can listen to the rebroadcast on the KGRA Radio. Check out kgraradio.com for the rebroadcast at 2 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Time. You can catch the Strange Oddities Podcast live every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow our YouTube channel for our live weekly show at 8 p.m. If you like the show, please give us feedback. Email us at strangeodditiespodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, strangeodditiespodcast.wordpress.com. Tune in every week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the YouTube channel. You can also look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page where all the news and information about upcoming guests and anything Strange Oddities Podcast is doing. Go to our Facebook page, give us a like, and give us a shout. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and again, thanks again for the KGRA for rebroadcasting the Strange Oddities Podcast.